My security camera caught me leaving my house while I was asleep inside. 3 nights ago, my security camera recorded me walking out of my own front door at 2:47 a.m. Calm, steady, like I knew exactly where I was going. There's just one problem. I was asleep, in my bed, the entire time. I have the footage. I have witnesses. And I have absolutely no memory of any of it. By the end of this video, you're gonna understand why I haven't slept with my bedroom door unlocked since. Stay with me, because this gets worse before it gets better. Before I keep going, if cinematic true mystery stories like this pull you in, hit subscribe on Leon Drama Stories right now. New stories drop every week, and trust me, you don't want to miss what happens at the end of this one. My name is Ethan Carter. I'm 25. I live alone in a small rental house on the edge of town, the kind of quiet street where nothing ever happens. 6 months ago, after a break-in 2 doors down, I installed 4 security cameras. Front porch, backyard, driveway, hallway, just inside the front door. Cheap insurance, I thought. A way to sleep better. It worked. For a while. Until the morning I woke up and my phone was buried under 17 motion alerts. I almost ignored them. I get false alerts all the time, a cat, a raccoon, wind hitting the lens. But 17 in one night had never happened before. I opened the app standing in my kitchen, coffee in hand, half awake, fully unprepared for what I was about to see. 2:47 a.m. The hallway camera. My bedroom door opens, and I walk out, not stumbling, not groggy. I'm fully dressed jeans, the gray jacket from my closet, shoes already on my feet. I watch myself walk past the camera, reach the front door, unlock it with steady hands, and step outside into the dark. I sat down on my kitchen floor and watched it 4 more times. Because I remembered going to bed at 11 p.m. I remembered waking up at 6:45 a.m. in the same position, under the same blanket. I remembered nothing in between. The driveway camera picked me up next. I walk to the edge of the property, stand completely still for almost 6 minutes, staring down the empty street. Then I turn around and walk back inside. The door locks behind me. 41 minutes, start to finish. I checked my shoes that morning. They were damp. There had been rain that night. Real rain. Real shoes. Real 41 minutes I would never get back. I told myself it was sleepwalking. People do strange things when their brain is half shut down. I'd read about it once, somnambulism they call it. Walking, talking, even driving, with zero memory afterward. It scared me, but it made sense. A medical explanation. Something I could research. Something I could fix. I texted my older sister, Claire, because she's the only person who'd believe me without laughing. She called me within 10 minutes, and her voice had a tightness I wasn't expecting. She said, "Ethan, I need you to send me that video right now." I sent it. The line went quiet for almost 30 seconds. Then she said something that turned my stomach to ice. "That's not how you walk." I laughed, nervously, and asked what she meant. She said, "You favor your right leg. You've done it since you tore your ACL in high school. Watch the video again. Whoever that is, they don't limp." I watched it a 6th time, a 7th. She was right. The walk was smooth. Even. Mine has never been even. Not once in 9 years. I told her she was imagining things. That grainy night vision footage distorts movement. She didn't argue. She just asked me to come stay at her place for a few nights. I said no. I had work in the morning. I had a life that didn't pause for a 4-minute video clip. That was the last calm decision I made for almost 2 weeks. If you're getting that uneasy feeling right now, that's exactly where I was. Drop a comment telling me what you think is really going on. I read every single one, and some of you have called twists on this channel before they happened. Let's see if you catch this. 4 nights later, it happened again. Same time, almost to the minute. 2:51 a.m. This time, I set my phone alarm for 2:30, determined to catch myself in the act. I fell asleep anyway. The body doesn't ask permission. I woke to my alarm at 6 a.m. and immediately checked the footage, hands shaking before I'd even sat up. Same hallway, same door, same calm, even walk. But this time, the camera caught something new. As I reached the front door, I turned my head just slightly toward the camera, and I smiled. Not a sleepy, half smile, a real one. The kind you give someone you recognize. I have never, in my entire life, smiled at a camera I supposedly didn't know was filming me. I called in sick to work that day. I couldn't focus on anything except that smile. I drove to a sleep clinic and begged for an emergency consultation. The doctor watched the footage twice, frowned, and told me something that should have comforted me but didn't. She said sleepwalkers' eyes are typically open but unfocused, glassy, distant, almost vacant. My eyes, in that footage, were sharp, aware, looking directly at the lens like I knew it was there. She ordered a sleep study. Electrodes on my scalp, a camera in my bedroom, a full night under observation. 3 nights later, I lay in a hospital bed wired like a science experiment, waiting for 2:47 a.m. to prove me wrong. It came and went. Nothing happened. I slept straight through, according to every machine in that room. The doctor said my brainwaves showed completely normal REM cycles. No sleepwalking markers, no seizure activity, nothing. Which meant, medically, there was no reason for what my own camera had recorded 4 times in 2 weeks. I went home that morning more frightened than when I'd left. 2 days later, my neighbor, Mrs. Delgado, stopped me while I was getting my mail. She asked if I'd had a friend staying with me. Someone who looked like me, she said. Same build, same jacket. My stomach dropped before she even finished the sentence. She said she'd seen him 3 or 4 times now, late at night, standing at the edge of my driveway. She'd assumed it was me getting fresh air, until one night she waved, and he just stared at her without responding, then walked back inside my house. I asked her what night. She said Tuesday, 2:47 a.m., give or take. I went home and pulled every camera angle I had, frame by frame, second by second, looking for anything I'd missed. And then I found it. The backyard camera, the one I rarely checked because it usually only caught wind moving the fence line. Tuesday night, 2:44 a.m. 3 minutes before the hallway camera shows me walking out my own front door. A figure climbs over my back fence. Same build, same gray jacket. He walks across my yard, stops at the back door, and lets himself in with a key. A key. Not a broken lock, not a forced window. A key that worked on the first try. I sat there staring at that frame until my coffee went cold, because only 3 people in the world have a key to my house. Me, my sister Claire, and my landlord, a quiet man named Victor who I'd met exactly twice in 18 months. Okay, I need you to subscribe right now if you haven't already, because the next part is the reason I'm still telling this story instead of letting it disappear. Leon Drama Stories, hit follow. Turn on notifications. You do not want to miss what's coming. I called Victor that same afternoon, voice shaking, trying to sound calmer than I felt. He didn't answer. 3 calls, 3 voicemails. By evening, I'd convinced myself I was overreacting, that there was some boring explanation, a maintenance check, a forgotten notice, anything mundane. Then, at 9 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. A man's voice, low and unfamiliar, said 4 words before hanging up. Stop watching the cameras. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my living room with every light on, my laptop open to the live feed, watching nothing happen for 6 straight hours. Around 3 a.m., exhausted, I finally dozed off in the chair. I woke up to my own front door, wide open, cold air pouring into the house. My phone, sitting on the coffee table, recording a voice memo I never started. I played it back with trembling hands. It was my own voice, calm and clear, saying, "He doesn't know yet. Give it one more week. I have never said those words in my life. I don't remember recording anything. That's when Claire called the police with me. We pulled every piece of footage, every timestamp, every angle, and laid it out for a detective who looked more disturbed with every clip he watched. 2 days later, they brought Victor in for questioning. What came out wasn't a ghost story. It was something far more human, and somehow worse. Victor had a son, Daniel, 26 years old, same height as me, same build. A son who'd been missing from his own life for 3 years, addiction, a breakdown, a disappearance Victor never reported because of the shame attached to it. Daniel had been living in my crawlspace access, behind a panel in the basement I never once thought to check. For almost 2 months, he'd found an old jacket of mine in a donation bag. Victor was supposed to drop off. He started wearing it, started studying me, my schedule, my walk, my voice. The detective said it plainly. Daniel wasn't trying to hurt me. He was trying to become someone again. And somewhere in his unraveling mind, becoming me felt safer than being himself. The voice memo wasn't a threat to someone else. It was a note to his father, recorded on my phone while I slept 10 feet away, promising silence for 1 more week. 1 more week to figure out what he'd do once Victor finally told the truth. They found him 3 days later, 2 towns over, sitting calmly in a diner, still wearing my gray jacket. I moved out 2 weeks after that. New apartment, new locks, cameras in every single room. Victor never apologized. I don't think he knows how. Sometimes I still think about that smile on the hallway footage, not Daniel's smile, but the one part of this I never fully explained. The detective said people in psychological crisis can mirror behavior with frightening precision. I tell myself that's the answer. Most nights, I believe it, but every so often, around 2:47 a.m., I still wake up and check my phone, just to be sure it's still only me in the house. If this story kept you watching until the very end, that's exactly why I make these. Subscribe to Leon Drama Stories so you don't miss the next one. And tell me in the comments, would you have stayed in that house or run the moment you saw that first clip? I read every comment, and I'll see you in the next story. Share.